think they couldn't get enough. All right. Anyway, talk to me about Shadow in the Cloud. I had heard of this movie. I see it stars Chloe Grace Moretz. I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, so remember, oh shit, what's his name? This was one of the movies written by who's the son of the guy that did American Werewolf in London? Landis's son.
Max Landis.
Max Landis. Yeah. So this was one of the movies. Yeah. I think it was like a leftover.
I thought he got canceled. Didn't they cancel
canceled.
Max Landis?
Yeah, but so.
Oh, he's back.
Well, no, he's not back. But like, I think he had such a run for those like 5 years. He had like so many things in development. So he still has these like leftover projects that I think you know the deal had been struck and everything, because they made a big deal about when this movie was coming out.
This is pre-cancel.
Yeah, pre-canceled, but they made a big deal about like how they I think they rewrote it a little bit, or they changed something. And
was it problematic?
No, I don't know what it was before. Maybe it was the same script. It definitely sounds like a Max Landis pitch. Like, I'll hand it to him. Like, you know, I could see him being a guy that's like good in a room for like, here's a broad idea that's like, you know, kind of creative and everything like that. But so anyways, this movie's, I guess, interesting. I don't want to say it's like good, but it's not, it's something. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like it's.
Well, should people watch this or no?
No, I would say like whenever it comes on I don't even know if this is more like a Cinemax or a Showtime movie. You know, it's not HBO quality. This is a movie made by Redbox Films, so that should be a seal of quality. But it is totally like a Redbox type of movie, because it's like one of those movies that's kind of dumb, but you're interested enough in the premise to get you hooked. And yeah, so just to go into the movie, the plot of the movie is Chloë Grace Moretz is a World War II pilot, and they make a big deal, like, yeah, there was this special, they did have these special occasions where they had like women pilots, and she's from New Zealand. They make a big point of like showing like, hey, we're not just like pulling this out of our asses or whatever, and basically it's she's got a package that she's delivering, that she's got to deliver on this plane during World War II, and there's like 3 or 4 kind of like chauvinist pilots on the flight with them, and because they're kind of like, oh, who is this girl? What's in this bag? Like, she basically comes up to them and is like, hey, the commander gave me these like orders that I have to deliver this package. I can't tell you any more information, but I need to get on this flight now. So they're like, okay, cool. You can sit in the bubble gunner thing, like you know, like in Star Wars, the it's like that bubble with like turrets on it.
Yeah, it's like a clear dome with the machine guns hanging out of it.
Yeah, so
she's like a tail gunner.
And yeah, like I imagine, you know, George Lucas got that from this real thing from World War II. But so basically, they tell her to go sit in this bubble, and the thing I wasn't expecting is like half the movie takes place in that bubble. It's kind of like Pontypool, or even The Vast of Night, where I was like, oh, it's kind of like parts of the movie are almost like a radio play. Like, it's just Chloë Grace Moretz sitting in this bubble talking to the other pilots, and you kind of like learn everyone's backstory. And meanwhile, because she's sitting in the bubble and like seeing things going on, like she like basically is like the source of tension, where they're like, you know, who is this girl, whatever, and then might encounter or see something in the clouds, but yeah, so basically there's it's not really much of a spoiler, it's like in the trailer, but she sees a gremlin in the clouds, and it's a little bit like that Twilight Zone episode where it's like, hey guys, I'm trying to tell you there's something wrong, and they're like, this dame, you know, what's the matter with her, and everything like that. And it was, that part is actually pretty interesting. Like, I was actually pretty on board with the movie, because Chloë Grace Moretz is great. The rest of the cast is pretty good. I do like those movies, if they're done well, where you're just kind of locked in with a character, and you're just like it's kind of claustrophobic, and I like how it's just these extended conversations where you get to know these people and everything like that. but there's like definitely a tipping point where the movie like the movie suddenly turns into a different movie like halfway through. Like it goes from this like really claustrophobic talky movie to like just whoa, full on actiony action and everything like that. And that part is kind of fun, and I do appreciate that they kind of split the movie in half. So it definitely was like, okay, cool, this is the popcorn flick I wanted for the back end. But there's a specific MacGuffin. I did not like where they went with certain MacGuffin things, and unfortunately most of the plot relies around it, and nothing, it just felt like it was like, oh, okay, this is where this is going. I've seen this in a bunch of movies. It felt both cliche and kind of stretched in credulity a little bit. But it's an interesting enough movie to like, whenever it comes on TV, like I would not pay any money for it. Or, you know, if you want to pay $1 or $2 at Redbox, go feel free or whatever. I would say it's not worth a big investment, but there are some kind of moderately entertainment parts, like, and especially towards the back end, like, you know, you can really see that this is a low budget movie because the green screen effects are bad, and there's one part, there's like a stunt, there's a thing that happens to Chloë Grace Moretz that like was just like, I like little, I'm usually like, okay, this is an action movie, like this could never happen, I'm fine with that, I just like to see, but there's a thing that happens to her in it that's like, I like literally screamed like fuck you at the screen, because it was just like the chances of things working out like that are so 1 in a million. it was but it was also kind of fun because it was so ridiculous. So I kind of had, I would say, mostly negative on the movie, like it's not a good movie, but I was kind of interested in it. So
well, how big is the gremlin?
It's about the size of her, I suppose, maybe a little small, like, you know, she's kind of petite, so it's a little smaller, and
so it's like a, yeah, like a little person size, maybe,
I guess,
or
so.
Like a child.
And it's not like it's not like demonic, it's more bat-ish.
Is it related to the package she's carrying?
I can't, well,
just don't get into it then.
I can't go into it, but I will say the package, it pissed me off. The package was the MacGuffin. Like, I love the setup of the package,
obviously.
and
I mean, she's carrying, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great setup, and I like, my mind kept on going to like all these different ways they could go into it, and the thing that they have in it is just like, oh, okay, this is lame. And the thing is, like, I wished it tied into the gremlin element a little bit more. Like, I wish the gremlin's a little thematically like random. Like, they have this cool little prologue that's like one of those 1940s, you know, watch out for gremlins, kids, you know, we need to get that to crush the Kaiser, and, you know, like one of those educational.
Wait, is this a hold on a second, you just hold on, is this a parallel universe where gremlins are widely accepted and known about?
Well, no, but it's like the thing that you know, like in the first Gremlins, the guy said, like, the gremlins were always that thing that were kind of like a joke or a rumor that, like, during World War II they were the cause of like pilots' jets going down, when really it was probably like just shoddy engineering and shit like that, or, you know, human error. But like, so this opening cartoon is kind of like a reference to that, and it shows like a mechanic, like a dude that's like working on a plane and like drinking a bottle or something like that, and it's like somebody slaps the bottle out of his hand, is like, don't let gremlins go screwing up your work, or something like it lays the ground. Like, I know gremlins were kind of based on this idea, like, you know,
I wanted to make sure that Max Landis hadn't like convinced another group of millionaires to make a movie where like elves and shit are just part of this reality, or something. You know what I mean?
Aren't you excited for Bright 2? Are they ever going to do that bullshit?
Is that happening?
No, I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think